And let's say good morning to Rockland County Legislator Chris Carey. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Meredith. I hope you feel better. I felt bad for you yesterday. You were a real trooper even trying to get in there.
Thanks.
That's sweet. So I hear you wrote a love letter to the governor.
Yeah, I don't see it as a political letter. I think it's just
No, I'm teasing, but
I know.
You know what? See, what worries me, I'm really glad you called and we want to talk about this, because what worries me is, we have so much on our plates as a society right now, just trying to live and survive here in Rockland, and things get pushed to the back burner. And I don't want the day to happen when all of a sudden the bridge is built and the ribbon is cut, and surprise, you get to the toll booth and it's $15.
Exactly. Hey, Steve, is it okay if I just give a little bit of background?
Sure, please.
My inaugural time on here, folks may not know who I am. Again, I'm Chris Carey. I'm the legislator for District Number 9. It covers, believe it or not, Bardonia in its entirety, Nanuet, New City, Pomona, and West Nyack. So it's kind of a swath that goes kind of through the central part of the county. Background-wise, I'm the youngest of 5 children. My family moved here from the Bronx in 1964. My parents are Bill and Marie Carey. I think, Steve, you knew my dad. He was a councilman in Clarkstown from 81 to 89.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and product of the Clarkstown schools. Just education-wise, I'm a proud graduate of Manhattan College with a mechanical engineering degree. Met my future wife there. We've got 2 daughters. One's a junior at Manhattan and one's a freshman at Fordham. And I'm very active locally. I'm a trustee at St. Francis of Assisi in West Nyack, and I'm on several local boards, including Camp Venture. So I've been a long-time resident in Rockland County, and it was a natural progression for me to run for office as I got more and more involved. So.
By the way, you just triggered real quickly when you mentioned St. Francis. Did you know you knew John Maloney? You know John Maloney, right?
Yes, 90 years old.
Yeah, he turned 90. Yes, I forgot you listened. He turned 90 yesterday. God bless him.
Yeah, he goes way back with my father, and he's a force of nature and one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet.
Oh,
so,
honest to goodness.
Yeah. So to the love letter, about, I guess, 2 weeks ago on Friday, there was an article that came out. For those that aren't aware of the issue, that Governor Cuomo was proposing to give the tax breaks to residents of Staten Island that had to use the Verrazano Bridge, roughly a 60% discount. And my feeling was that that's exactly the same situation we find ourselves here in Rockland, is that, this bridge is going up. I applaud the governor how quickly, this bridge has been talked about for 20 years. He really pushed that through quickly. I did come out and support that early, because I don't see it as a Republican-Democrat issue. I see it as a common sense and frankly, a safety issue. And I just think that it's a regional bridge, and I think that we would be disproportionately impacted if the tolls go anywhere near what is projected to be at $14. That's a big burden on folks in Rockland County. I used to work in White Plains. That's like getting a pretty good cut in pay. Yeah. Across that bridge, and I applaud him for the concept, and I just think it really makes sense to apply it equally to Rockland County. And I, as part of I was on the planning board in Clarkstown prior to running, and I remember doing the master plan. I was amazed to find out that more people work on the 287 corridor, both towards White Plains and Stamford, than in New York City. I'd always imagined 80% of the people in Rockland worked in the city. Those commuting patterns have changed, so this will really impact a lot of people who are working over in White Plains and Stamford, that whole corridor there, and I think it could impact the growth here as well of businesses. Why would you want to live on the other side of potential, or work somewhere that's you have to pay a $14 toll each day? So to me, it's
well. Let's just say this: the figure $14 has not been cast in stone yet, but that's just the projection.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. I hope it's not upwards of that. I know folks that I think that came out in one of the early meetings, and I think that the governor and his team have done a great job of communicating the bridge as it's been going along, and really, the meetings that they held, the outreach did a nice job. I would just like to see that same pressure be put on now the tolls, so we're not surprised after the fact that it is $14. So again, it's a regional bridge. It benefits the whole system, and I just think we're disproportionately going to be hurt by that. And I hope he strongly would consider taking that same approach for Staten Island and applying it here in Rockland.
Can you take a call from a listener?
Sure.
Ralphie, where'd you go, Ralphie? Chris, are you still there?
I'm still here.
I don't know what happened to Ralphie. All right, Ralphie, you want to call back because he wanted to talk to you about the bridge. Do you anticipate getting an answer from the governor?
I think so. And the reason why I think so, it's not just me asking for this. I know Ed Day is very much behind this, and I put a resolution into the legislature referencing both bills by Ken Zabrowski and David Carlucci. So I do think we have very solid support on this. And again, it's not a Democrat-Republican issue. It's a pro-Rockland issue.
Okay, I got Ralphie back. Ralphie, you're on with Chris Carey.
Good morning, Legislator Carey. Ralphie Bracco from Amon. How are you?
Good morning, Ralphie.
Question I have with the bridge, and not to be rude or nothing like that with the legislator and Como and all of that, we have statistics knowing how many vehicles go across that bridge. We have statistics how much money they make. We have statistics of what we pay for maintenance. Same with the bonding, the amount of money we're paying for the bridge, how much we're going to pay each year. All that could be put together and get a price. Why are we dragging, I hate to be rude, of a price when there should be a price? When we get a house and we buy it, we get a mortgage, we know what we're going to pay before we borrow. Why isn't that a problem?
That's exactly why I'm pushing on this. I think if we put pressure on this issue now, look, even if it's bad news, I'd rather know about it now so we can prepare and make appropriate decisions as people who live here in Rockland County. It's just one more bill that gets thrown on our high taxes. And again, I do think they've done a good job of communicating. I think this is one area they definitely need improvement, and I'm hoping the pressure that what I'm going to help on the legislature, and also the state representatives and Ed Day, we do need an answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say it's black and white and easy, but you have numbers. You have a number of what it's going to cost. You have a number of what amount of vehicles going to cost. Those numbers got to be put together. If you're getting 1 billion cars, it's $10. If you're getting $500 million, it's $50. I mean, it's not. Listen, I'm in business, and I hear this all the time. And as Steve said, I don't want to come up when the bridge, they cut the ribbon. Sorry, it's $15. The point is, it may be, but as you're saying, let us be aware of it prior to doing it.
That's reasonable. That's a reasonable request. It really is. Ralphie, thanks a lot. Al Samuels is on the line.
I do think one good thing is by not having those prices fixed now, they could give us the Rockland discount and build it into those tolls now. So it won't be a surprise.
Al, good morning.
Good morning. Chris, good morning. How are you today?
Good.
I'd like to allay apprehensions about this to the extent that I can. I think you folks might recall that I'm one of the founders of the Committee to Build a Bridge Now. I've been very much involved in the bridge and issues surrounding it over the years. The $14 toll was never stated by anyone that this is what it will be. There was, in the course of a conversation, as you indicated early on, Chris, somebody had mentioned that, it could be as high as. The governor immediately came out and said that would be unacceptable and that he would move to ensure that it would not rise to that level and would create a tolling task force, which I have publicly stated I believe will be created as soon as we get the final report from the Mass Transit Task Force next Friday, so that there wouldn't be the two task forces meeting concurrently, because I believe that some of the folks who serve on the Mass Transit Task Force might also serve on the tolling task force. And the mission of that tolling task force will be to try and keep the toll down to the lowest level possible.
Well, you know what?
Come up with
the governor should
discounts.
The governor should respond to Chris then. I don't want you to do a monologue here, Al. I mean,
okay, but I just want folks to know that,
right,
this is being addressed and will be addressed formally at some point soon.
Okay, thank you very much. Chris, do you have any comments on that?
No, I welcome that conversation. The sooner the better.
No, but I applaud your move. I mean, it's not. I don't consider it ceremonial. I think it was a good gesture. It's something that he has been told that we don't want to be caught in some sort of a situation where it's going to hit us by surprise or spontaneously. That's all. And I think
that's where we're coming from. Is let's start the conversation earlier. This is not new, but what is new is the strategy that came out in Staten Island. I think it makes perfect sense to apply it here in Rockland.
Yeah. Hey, if we could just switch gears for a minute now. You're shy one member of the legislature by virtue of former Legislator Day now being County Executive Day. So what is procedurally? What have the wheels started moving yet?
In terms of
replacing Ed.
Yeah, I think I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I think we have someone in mind to run for that seat. Since it's not official, I don't want to announce. Okay. You'll be hearing about that shortly, and we're going to aggressively try to win that seat back.
Are you? I don't even know what party you're affiliated with. Are you Republican?
Yes, I am. I'm the minority leader for the legislature.
Right. So you don't anticipate that the replacement for the county executive will be a Republican, I guess.
Oh, no, that's already happened. It's Barry Kanchowitz.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I forgot that. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Barry is already set. So they'll face each other. The two candidates will face each other in November in a special election, and the whole legislature is up the following year.
Right. I don't believe I forgot that.
Oh, no problem.
Too much pressure. All right. Yeah. So your party then will announce a candidate.
Yes, and I believe that'll be shortly. You'll be hearing about that shortly.
You'll make sure we're the first to know because I'll forget it the next day.
I will make sure you know.
How long have you been on the legislature?
I was elected 2 years ago. So at 2011, November 2011, that was my first run. I ran for the seat vacated by Jerry Bierker, who was retiring after 12 years. So 2 years. It's been an interesting 2 years, and I've learned a lot, and I really enjoy it. It can be frustrating, as I think sometimes I get to a place after the party's over. All we've known is fiscal crisis since I've been on here, and that's why I ran, and that's what I'm going to continue to focus on, because there seems to be a feeling out there, Steve, that with the $96 million bond being approved, with the sale of the nursing home and the hospital being approved by the legislature, that we've turned the corner and we're out of harm's way. I'm not that optimistic. I'm hoping we hit the bottom.
Yeah.
But I don't see us coming out of this.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Art Aldrich yesterday morning was talking about that. We have a segment every Wednesday to preview the pages of the Our Town newspaper, and Art essentially said about the hospital that whatever revenues derived from the sale of that may just satisfy the debt that the hospital has incurred. It's not going to help the overall county economy.
Totally agree. I think you'll have to we haven't talked details, but I think that proceeds will be needed to set aside, because there's going to be a lot of costs associated with winding down that operations that you're going to have to settle over the next few years. But the good news is that once you're done with that, you stop losing that $1 million a month, which I believe is what got us in this situation.
Now, do you anticipate that Moody's and the other rating services will readjust their bond rating for Rockland in the near future?
I know those conversations are ongoing, and I think that you'll see over time it will progress in a positive manner. I don't know short term. I know Ed has rolled up his sleeves and is starting to put things in place.
Yep.
But again, you're turning a whole ship around. It's going to take a while, and I want to manage people's expectation. I don't think we're out of this for quite some time, and I still think over time we have to re-engineer what Rockland County government is. And by not making some of those hard decisions earlier, we had to go and take cuts in areas we should potentially be growing in county government. And we can't be everything to everyone, and I think those hard decisions are still in front of us.
You're not going to climb Mount Everest with a cane and one good leg in a day, that's for sure.
No.
And with that, Chris Carey, it was a pleasure talking to you. It really was.
It was nice talking to you, Steve, and Meredith. I hope you're feeling better.
All right,
Thanks.
We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.
Soon, I hope.